All right, everybody, let's address the #1 most asked question that pops up during live streams while we've been playing our way through New World Aeternum. Is it worth it? And I think that that's a loaded question that depends on whether or not you played this on the PC when it first came out in 2021, or if you're playing it for the first time as a new player in 2024 as the New World Aeternum version of the game, which launched on consoles with 3 years of content behind it and a ton of polish, as well as having crossplay and the ability for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC players to all play together. So there is nuance to the answer. Is it worth it? Because there is a box cost with this game, and that's something that for some people is a turnoff who prefer free-to-play games like Throne and Liberty. And that's fine. Everybody's got different budgets. So we've already talked about in another video the value of the game for me as a player, because that $60 box cost has resulted in, just for me, I'm approaching 100 hours of gameplay just doing the main series quests, and I will probably end up around 100 hours more or less by the time I'm ready to switch over to Dragon Age Veilguard. So for a value perspective, I do think it's worth it, but there's a lot of other nuance to this. So let's chat about things in greater detail. So if you have not played New World Aeternum yet, and you are a new player that's looking for something fun to do, I do think it's worth it, because at the very minimum, you're going to get, I would argue, around 75 to 100 hours of gameplay between the main story and the two story DLCs that have been launched since this game originally came out on the PC at the end of 2021. Now, there's also the other content of the game to consider. There's harvesting, there's crafting, there's housing, there are dungeons, there's 12 dungeons, expeditions, there's raids, there's solo trials, there's PvP, there's territory battles, there are factions you can join and go through, and there are hundreds of side quests which add content above and beyond that 75 to 100 hours of base gameplay just for the main story. Now, the 75 to 100 hours assumes you are a brand new player who's going to actually run through the storyline of the game. You're going to watch the cutscenes. You're going to listen to the voice acting. You're going to discover the locations for the first time. You're going to stop along the way, listen to all of the voice acting as you read the notes in the game, and to generally immerse yourself in the role-playing aspect of this game, because it is a role-playing game at the end of the day. It's an action role-playing game, but it does have hundreds of hours of quest lines if you take the time to play through them. Now, this goes back to the video that was published, I think, yesterday on the channel, where someone came on YouTube and said quests aren't content. And if you're the type of person who doesn't think that quests are content, and you don't think that dialogue is content, then no, this game is not going to be for you. Nor is any game going to be for you, because if your sole focus is the loot grind, there is a loot grind here, especially if you're going to participate in raids and in-game, the end PvP and the end dungeons and the mutated trials and everything else. But there is also a ton of other content in this game. We've kind of covered this in another video where I was showing off the activities that you can do, because there are a lot of things you can do. There's all this PvE stuff you can do, and then there's the optional PvP. And then there's the factions like the Syndicate, Marauders, and Covenant, which are the 3 factions. You can join one of those, and then you can optionally turn on PvP for that component of the game. And then there's the forts, the territory forts that you can participate in, the upcoming battles for the different territories. And again, all the PvP in this game is completely optional. You don't have to participate in that at all. So if you enjoy good story, good voice acting, lots of cutscenes, cinematic narrative storytelling, there's a lot of that going on here. The combat of the game, you know, there are a lot of different weapon types to look at. I went with the Musketeer. The New World Aeternum version of the game comes with these archetypes, which start you off with a couple of different weapon skills, some cosmetic armor, and a few trade skills already leveled up for you. Oops, I went to the wrong one of the trade skills. And then you go forth from there and decide what else you're going to want to do. So There is a lot of stuff to do in this game. There's also all the achievements if you want to go through here. It looks like there are 888 total achievements that you can go out and grind. So if you're someone who likes that aspect of the game, that's there. There's also all the different mounts you can get a hold of. Some of them are from the game, some of them are through the store. There's a battle pass that you can choose to participate in if you want to. There's the free version, as well as the paid version, which is kind of like if you've ever watched me play Lord of the Rings Online or Star Wars: Age of Republic over the years. Sometimes I play free to play, and sometimes when I know I'm going to be playing for like 3 or 4 months, I will give them a monthly subscription to just pay for a block of like 3 months, and I get all the extra perks that come with being a paying subscriber, and that's essentially what all this is here. There is zero pay to win in this game. These are just convenience items and little fluff things and cosmetics that you can get, and extra foods and crafting weapons, crafting things, and things of that nature. So it's just convenience stuff for you. There's also guilds if you want to join a company. So if you've ever played another MMO, you can expect to get hundreds of hours of entertainment out of this game if you're going to be playing it like an MMO. But what if you're not? What if you're going to play it like I played it? Because I'm currently on a mission to get to the end of the main storyline before I roll over into Dragon Age Veilguard, so I don't have any interest in the MMO side of this game. I literally looked at it and said, $60. I'm going to play it like a single-player RPG. I'm going to get 75 hours-ish of, 75 to 100 hours of gameplay out of that for that $60 purchase. To me, that is very much worth my time because I've played many, many, many $70 games that only have 30 hours of content, and you can't directly relate, hours in a game to enjoyment or value per se, but some people do associate per hour. And thanks for the follows, guys. I always forget to turn that off when I'm recording videos. So if you're someone who equivocates, is that even a word? If you look at the hourly rate and say, did I get enough value out of this game? I think that there is a value in that for you. Now, here's the other thing, though. What if you're someone who played the game when it first launched? I did. I played the game when it first came out, played it for about 40 hours on the PC. I didn't actually finish the main storyline because I was like, it's okay, but it was rough. I didn't really like some of the ways that they were doing environmental storytelling. It didn't really sit with me, and so I just went away. Now, coming back to the game in New World Aeternum, it has been a completely new experience for me. Some of the old quests are still there, but everything has been revamped. NPCs are in different locations. They've added cinematic cutscenes to everything. It's a completely new narrative, and it actually feels like it's a completely different thing now, because now there's a narrative that drives you from point A to point B, and that's what we've been following along in the live streams if you've been tuning into those. There's a lot to do and see, so even if you play it as a single player game like me, I think you're going to get your value. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Even if you played it back at launch and you haven't played it since then. Now, on to the PC crowd who have played for thousands of hours. Some of those players really love the changes and the new version of the game. It's more polished, they added new in-game content, there's new mounts, there's new weapons, there's new gear tiers, there's a new raid, there's a new in-game zone. But you do have a vocal minority who are out there saying that, oh, it's not worth it. We've beta tested for 3 years, and we've addressed that in another post talking about how every live service game evolves as you go along. If you are someone who has been playing the game since launch and you've been playing it up until this point, there probably isn't a lot of new story content for you to go through. They did add, obviously, all the new MSQ stuff, all the new cutscenes, everything else, and you could choose to go through those if you want. There's also the new in-game area and the new raid. That's all new. The backbone of this was creating a cross-play version of the game that could be played on the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the PC, and then bringing all those up in parity together so that they have a bigger base platform with more players. So there is something to be said for the people who have been playing it since it launched 3 years ago on the PC. If you have been playing it since then, there isn't necessarily a ton of new content with this New World Aeternum publication, this launch. But if you were a new player coming in for the first time, you were looking at anywhere from a minimum of 50 to 75 hours of gameplay to hundreds of hours of gameplay, depending on if you indulge in the online aspects of this game. Worth noting is that we've had people come on the channel and claim that they've done the main story quest in 9 or 10 hours. That is physically not possible. We've had other people say we did it in 30 hours. If you did it in 30 hours, you were spacebarring your way through the cutscenes, and or you already also knew the places to go to find all the NPCs because you'd done the quest in beta, and etc. So these are the caveats that you have to know when you're looking at, is this game worth it? Because there's a lot of misinformation out there about the different things about New World Aeternum. And if you only pay attention to the vocal minority, you might be led to believe that this isn't worth it. I do think it is worth it. For 60 bucks, buying it as a new player, there's definitely a lot of value in that. If you own the base game from back in the day, but you never bought the DLC that launched a couple of years back, you do need to upgrade your base version of the game with a $30 expansion purchase, and then that gets you into New World Aeternum. So if you are coming back after 2 years of not playing or whatever, you can get up to speed for $30 and go from there. There is no monthly subscription associated with this game. However, and this is on their fact page, you do have to pay attention, because if you're playing on the Xbox or the PlayStation, each one of those games has a required online component, which means you have to be paying the online subscription to either Xbox or PlayStation to access their online. It's no different than if you're playing like Destiny or Destiny 2 or Final Fantasy 14 on those platforms. You need to pay for the access to the multiplayer aspects of those two things. Whether it's I don't think it's called Game Pass, it's called like Xbox Live or something, and then on PlayStation it's like the PS Plus. I have an Xbox Ultimate subscription, Game Pass Ultimate, and I have a PS Plus. So for me, I already have those things going in the background. So I went ahead and bought this for the PS5, even though I do own it on the PC, because I wanted to play it on the PS5 because I felt that that's just where I felt like playing it. It really doesn't matter, but it does. If you are worried about, in terms of performance, everything else, it's all going to play the same everywhere. But if you're worried about the monthly costs, there is no monthly cost to play it anywhere from Amazon, right? So if you're playing on the PC, no monthly sub at all. But if you're playing on Xbox or PlayStation, you have to pay that online fee for those platforms. But that's not related to New World. That's just what you have to pay to those services for their online systems. So food for thought. I do think it's worth it, but there are some costs associated with it, the box cost and or some monthly subs, depending on which platform you're going to be playing on. So take that into consideration. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Don't forget, daily streams at 9 a.m. Mountain on YouTube and Twitch. We also have a ton of social media. There's Discord, a Patreon, and I play a lot of games. We're moving into Dragon Age Veilguard after this one, so hopefully we'll see you there. Until next time, everybody, stay safe. Happy gaming.